Hi friends, welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up this week, and this week is no different. We're doing it again. Episode 82. Thanks for being here. We're almost at episode 100, which is just bananas. I guess we'll just have to settle for peppers and blueberries today. I don't know. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to take a look at this week. There are a bunch of campaigns that, you know what, I've never heard of. And so some of them might be fantastic, and I imagine the others will be just horrendous. But we'll be here together through thick and through thin, finding the gold nuggets of glory that will happen, kind of like Broken and Beautiful. I mean, I haven't played it yet. This just arrived again because they screwed up my group order, and now I have the actual thing, which is exciting. I'm excited to play this. I talked about this on Crowdfunding Countdown when it was on. It's just a little set collection game. It was a decent price, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be good. Maybe I played it this past weekend. I don't know, because I'm filming it early. Hey, this episode of Crowdfunding Countdown is brought to you in part by my patrons. And in fact, it's brought to you completely by them because they're very supportive and I love them a lot. So thank you so much to my patrons, and especially my newest patrons, Anne and Jacob. Thank you so much for jumping on board. I met both Anne and Jacob at Dice Tower West. Jacob and I, we played a game, and we should have played a game. I let you down. I didn't have time to play Oath, which was too bad. But I just want to say thank you to both of you for jumping on board. It was completely not necessary to do, but I appreciate it immensely. And I'm so thrilled to know you and to have you as part of the Rabid Academy, as us room and boardies are referred to. So thank you to my newest patrons. Thank you to my existing patrons. All of you, you're amazing. Let's get right into the week and see if it's any good at all. Starting off with D-Day Dice, Reinforcements. This is a new expansion and reprint for the multi-award-winning solo co-op dice game by Emmanuel Aquin, D-Day Dice. I'm sure I pronounced that right. I'm pretty good at pronouncing different names. It's either that or Aquin. I'm sorry, Emmanuel. You're not watching. I'm sorry you're not. But let's take a look at this because it's raised £94,000, $158,000 Canadian, and maybe it'll be good. Because how else are you going to make World War II just more fun? Throw in some dice. All right. This is a monumentally trash campaign, I think. But the game looks fine. There's no rulebook on the page, hence why it's a monumentally trash campaign. But luckily, there is a rulebook that you can just find Googling because this game is very old. Back in 2011, it says, D-Day Dice was the most successful board game in Kickstarter history and the first ever to cross $100,000 mark, which is huge. And its second edition, published 7 years later by WordForge Games, was even more successful. So, way to go, D-Day Dice. It's gotten a lot of accolades, but they're also saying this is the last time anyone will ever get it. They're never printing it ever again. It doesn't matter if the entire world wants it. They've made this commitment, and they're not doing it. They're done. They're out. They're toast. Sayonara, D-Day Dice. You're never going to be made again. In which case, it makes me less interested in getting the game. I don't care about having something nobody has, because if I have it and then I think it's good, I would want to tell people about it. And then if you're never making it ever again, well, why would I even bother? So, yeah, the pledge levels are also weird because it says up here that you could get this special D-Day Dice Pocket Deluxe, and then when you go to to any of the options, it doesn't exist. So not sure why that is a thing. But let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. This video is fairly good in determining and showing you what it's all about. But this is better. Here's a battle map. You're going to have your little battle map, and down here in this little shield is going to tell you how many of your soldiers are going to die every turn. Because soldiers are just a resource in this game. Yeah, that's right. The World War II soldiers, meh, they're just a resource. That's a little dark, but it's true. Or at least it's true in D-Day Dice. It's similar to Yahtzee. You're rolling dice over and over. You must lock the first 2 dice, which is a little bit of a different twist on it. And you're going to use those to progress further and further up the beach and hopefully sustain enough soldiers and produce enough soldiers that you can sustain the dwindling of those soldiers as you progress forward, getting awards and stumbling upon dead soldiers' loot bags to give you some items, useful stuff, that kind of thing. The theme seems pretty dark. Honestly, if you look at it and you actually think about what you're doing, you can see here, this is the table I was looking for in the rulebook that they didn't have. That's the demo rulebook. If you get 3 of a kind, your red, white, and blue bonus being a true American like us all, then you get an additional better thing that happens. Oh, finally, add-on. The D-Day Dice Pocket is an add-on, but it's only limited to 400 copies, but it's not on the campaign page. So if you're going to hope to get it, well, just run to the Pledge Manager, I guess. Shipping is okay to the UK. It's £5 to the UK, £45 to get the actual base game, which there is, again, no Pledge Manager for, so you would just, or no pledge for, so you would just bid one. But even still, that's like $80 for a very simple, lightweight dice rolling game. Even if you love the theme, which, I don't know. I don't see why you would get this. Personally, it just feels way too much for what it actually is doing. But hey, if you're interested in that, check it out. That finishes Tuesday, March 21st at 7:59 p.m. We're going back to Tuesday, usually tomorrow, because some things have funded now and some things have not. One of those things that hasn't funded, but I am going to give a shout out to, is called Nevermind the Distraction. The reason I'm giving a shout out to this is I was hanging out with one of my patrons, Mark, at Dice Tower West, and he said that he tried this out. He tried it out in the demo area and immediately backed it on Kickstarter. He said it was so relaxing. Mark also said he's interested in meditation and that sort of mindfulness, and is interested in a engaging yet relaxing abstract solitaire game inspired by the principles of meditation and mindfulness. Which, if you're not interested in the theme, maybe you don't. But just the fact that Mark tried it and immediately backed it, I think, means that it's worth taking a look at. So let's see if I get the breakdown correct, and Mark will know if I'm just full of garbage, because he knows how to actually play, and he can out me now when I just make up all the rules and see who catches me. No one's caught me in 82 episodes. I've made it all up every single game. That's why it's so tiring to do. I have to make up unique games every time. Oh, it's tough. It's tough life here. Cool. Gut reaction looks a little bit like Ghost Stories. You're trying to keep a blank slate, tabula rasa, as it were, and your mind is going to be constantly getting you to think about things, as minds often do, and you want to just wipe it away clean. Don't think about those bills you have to pay from all of those Kickstarters that you backed willy-nilly. Just wipe it away. If you don't think about it, you don't have to worry about it. It's perfect. That's how that works, right? I hope. Yes, thank you, rulebook. I was worried, but it's just a little over halfway down the page. Anyway, this rulebook is a little tricky, but honestly, I think I'm just tired. The goal is to get all of the cards flipped down with an awareness token on their back. But this gives you a sense of what you do. There's the mind and there's the watcher. You're the watcher. You're looking at yourself. You're looking at your mind. The watcher is trying to infuse you with annoying thoughts and do all of these actions, flipping things up. And you're trying to do all of these actions in order to get a little awareness token on the back of a cool, crisp, clean mind. The mind takes an action, you take an action. The mind will flip up a card, but it can't flip up a card that's already been covered. So you're trying to balance how to cover these, how to flip up the card, and not to accelerate the time track too much further as well. Seems like a cute little game. It's $25 US, $35 Canadian, plus shipping. Again, that feels expensive to me as like a little solo card game, but you do get this cool little fabric mat, which is nice. And there's also a $5 print and play. So if this idea sounds cool to you, you can print it out yourself and try it. I think that's so cool. I love when campaigns do that. And if you want to get multiple copies, well, you should, because it's cheaper in shipping. $9 shipping puts it at $34 US to get to your door. It's a bit expensive for me. But again, I'm not a solo player, and Mark said it was great. So what the heck do I know? I'm sure it's great as well. If you're interested in not getting distracted, well, that finishes Tuesday, March 21st at 3 p.m. Another something that I'm looking at, because it is now funding, it wasn't funding when I first looked at it a while ago, but it finally made it across the threshold, and somebody shouted it out in the comments. This is Hellbringer from Montreal, Canada. Dive into the darkness of a dungeon to slay a powerful demon in this unique solo co-op card-based perception and hero building game. Perception building game? Hero building game? Well, it's not a deck building game, that's for sure. And if I see any deck building going on, well, there's going to be hell to pay. I'm sorry, I have to pause right here. There are 5 different locations that you can go to. There are 10 sort of different opening scenarios, 6 different heroes, whatever. But here are the different locations. These are the spooky locations, all of which have the same sort of weight to them. We have the graveyard, the crypt, the cave, hell, and a tomb. One of those things is not like the other, Hellbringer. You just slipped it in there. Oh yeah, graveyard, crypt, tomb, cave, all places where you can bury your dead, and hell. One of them is going to just be hell. But I love that it's the 4th one. Oh yeah, just running some errands. I'm going to head to Home Depot, Loblaws, hell, and Bed Bath & Beyond. Well, those last 2 are probably pretty much the same. Okay, bad example, but you get what I'm saying. This actually looks better than I expected. I thought I was going to say that it was going to be a solo game, but the prospect, at least in the video, I'll look it up, but I'll talk about it while I'm scrolling down. The prospect of being able to give your attribute points to people feels pretty fun. Because often in co-ops, you're just relegated to using your own points. And yeah, 65 Canadian? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Of course, we'll have to see what the shipping is, but rulebook halfway down the page, right after the shipping, which, I don't know. Is it just for me? Who knows? Canada, $20 Canadian, 15 to the US, 13 euros. Seems about the same for most people. Let's see what the rulebook says. Oh yeah, trading cards as well. This is the sort of trading card game I can get behind. You can do that in the co-op mode, to be clear. I gotta speed this up. I've spent an hour on the first 3. Not for you, but for me. So I gotta speed this up. Here are the cool things. When you kill, you're going to be working your way through a bunch of enemies, trying to kill them. Your dice have 10s and 5s on them instead of like 0, 1, and 2. So that means that your enemies can be like 40 damage. And you think, wow, 40 damage. And then you chuck a bunch of dice, 4 dice, and you roll 10s on them. You say, yeah, I killed a 40 damage, 40 health monster. I feel like the coolest person in the world. You also, whenever you kill a monster, you get to put them on the side here, which, over here. The side over here, where you can then level up your stats and give yourself additional stuff. And then I love that down here is kind of, well, I don't know if I love it. I think I love it because it's unique, but I think in practice maybe I would want tokens. Not sure yet, but you're going to keep on leveling up your stats down here, your health, your armor, your perception, your energy, etc. Your perception shows how far you can see ahead. There'll be monsters that you need to see at a different depth and you need to stare into your screen like you're playing a video game and just raising the brightness so that you can see all the spooky, scary things and don't get scared. Yeah, not that I do that in every single game. Looks kind of slick in terms of how it goes down. 65 Canadian plus 20 is 85 Canadian. In essence, it's just a bunch of cards. 240 cards. 41 dice. Yeah, it's a lot of cards, to be honest. And being able to go through the 6 classes feels kind of fun. And the skills interact with different character classes as well. This is a surprising one to me. I didn't think it was going to look good just by the art. But I am intrigued, and I think this is worth checking out if you like that sort of try to kill a whole bunch of monsters before they kill you style of games. So check that out. The finish is Tuesday, March 21st at 2 p.m. Those are the 3 on Tuesday, and now we are off to the races for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week, for the rest of the month. No, we'll still have a little bit more of March coming up. Let's check out this one. Positive games so far, though. Not any that I would necessarily buy, but positive from a design perspective. Let's check out this one. No, let's not check it out. It's 26 backers, and it's raised $7,000. Alexa, what is 7,000 divided by 26? 269.038. For some abstract games, people are spending that much on them. If you like the idea of abstract games, well, you can only buy 2 copies of the same game, which feels very odd. And they're also not even listed in the order from low to high. I don't think we're going to look into this one. I don't think you need to. It's a bunch of different tile-laying, abstract sort of games where you can save 111 euros on retail pricing because it's definitely coming to retail with these handcrafted wood stuff. Nope. Check it out if you want. Let me know if I got it wrong. That's why I kind of leave these things in here. But it doesn't feel like something that you would need. Let's move along and check out this one, Kuiperium. In the Kuiper belt, corporations compete to mine Kuiperium. That's the fish clan in Twilight Imperium, right? The Kuiperium. And take control of this new, incredibly powerful element. Well, speaking of bleak games, the sun is dying. And whoever controls the resources will control humanity. So kind of just right now. This is kind of neat. You're going to be placing cards into your tableau to match the corners or else you can't place them. But be careful, every card you play will create a worker placement location that only your opponent can use. Your opponent, your grandfather, your opponent can use. Rules, pretty close to the top of the page. It's a short page. Let's check it out. All right, so basically you're going to be going along this discovery track, touching upon various planets on the way there, trying to get to the end planet first. If you do, you win. You're going to be placing these cards down and forming synergistic corners. You can see here, or if I zoom in a little bit more, you can see that these corners don't have to match, but it's better if they do. And whenever you place a card down, you get certain abilities for placing them, or you can place workers out, but you don't get that until you recall all your workers. Then you get to activate the abilities on where they're on. Trying to create this synergy so you can push your way along the path to win. And this is very similar to Lords of Vegas 2, which we were talking about last time. I don't know if I talked about the scoring system, where you need a certain amount to get to the next spot. So even this is a 2 right here, you can't just have 1 point to push you there. You actually need 2 points to push you there. So you have to time out how much you're getting at one time to move you forward. Seems okay. 65 Canadian. All right. Shipping, 15 US, 20 Canadian. Exactly the same as Hellbringer. I think I might be more interested in Hellbringer, but this does seem neat. Hellbringer feels like there's a little bit more variability here. You're chaining things together, and the worker placement, I'm not quite sure how well it's going to work versus just wanting to play cards, but I can see that being an interesting flow. So both look decent with smaller funding goals and smaller funding currently. I'd check them out if you're interested. That finishes Wednesday, March 22nd at 12 p.m. Moving along to an expansion, this is an epic expansion for the board game Sauria that adds co-op mode, new dinosaurs, new characters, and a new hybrid dinosaur, and more. So, new dinosaurs, new characters, and new dinosaurs. This one was really recent, I felt. Or maybe I just live in a time warp where nothing matters, which is possible. Because I remember when Sauria was out, and that was just January. That was just January 2022. I guess that's over a year ago. Wow, how time flies. Never mind. I was going to say it felt a little bit early for a new Sauria to be coming out, but it's been over a year, and maybe their other one delivered. This is a nice update, though. Finally, people are receiving some minis, but they're broken, but the creator is just going to get the company who is producing them, Gamerati, to ship them all to them, and they'll just replace them. I guess there wasn't enough money in it for the attention to detail I was asking for. That feels like a very exciting and productive update. Sure, it's not great that the minis weren't doing well, but it feels like the creator is involved and committed and hopefully is going to get that sorted for everyone. Jesus, just get to the how to play already. Great. They have both rulebooks and German translation. They need a how to play section on their website, just with the refreshers so that people can get any sense. Hope I wasn't muted for that other sorry a bit. If I was, I'm sorry about it, but I'm not going back to rehash something I already did. Anyway, we're on to an Age Contrived, which is similar to most jokes I make on the channel in that they are, well, old and contrived. But this has a really slick video, specifically what you get to do on your turn. You're going to be putting these little discs in this thing that'll help upgrade your actions. Who knows what it means? It gets the people going. I will figure out what it means, but certainly the moving parts of it feel fun to look at. And that's, of course, what we want in a game is just, we think it'll be nice to look at, and it doesn't have any impact on the gameplay whatsoever. I mean, I bet it does. It's slick, though, where you pull out this little thing and it drops down below and you shoot it out. That's just slick. And that is why I guarantee you 1,000 backers have signed up for it. 1,002, actually, by my last poll. This is interesting, too. When a section of a monument is completed, all contributing players gain benefits while only the completing player gets to bind their energy token for points. Presuming that could be pretty exciting if the benefits early on are much more significant than the points, and then you have that give and take. This excites me now more than the conveyor belt does. $65 US, that's 90 Canadian, or 99 for mechanical steel boards. I don't know what that means, but I want it. Who have I become? Who have I become? Rulebook is halfway down the page. So your tiles are your energy, and the energy you're going to have different types. And you're trying to put that energy onto the board to complete sections of monuments. Basically, these types just indicate where it can be placed. Pretty simple. And so this is starting to remind me a little bit about Tzolk'in, if you like Tzolk'in, because the energy that you start in here is going to progressively get pushed further and further over here. And if they fall out at the end, then you lose access to them. So you're going to want to take the actions that are listed down below with the energy there before they fall out, or else back to start, you're going to be getting into some trouble. Now you can only take actions in the bottom row to start, and then you are going to be able to do the top row in conjunction with some of the bottom row actions. Or when you fill in the top part with additional actions, then you can start using the top row. This is interesting. You're also going to be moving your avatar around the board. This is the avatar for you as a god, and they can only move in the face that they are pointing. And when they hit a dead end, that's the only time they can turn around. If they hit a fork in the road, they can go either way. And so you're going to be placing these link tokens on the board as well to control their movement, because wherever they move can potentially give you benefits as well. So you're balancing the movement of your avatar, you're balancing the actions of the energy, and putting more energy out onto the monuments, completing the monuments, filling them up, trying to get the most victory points, that sort of thing. It seems neat. It does seem neat. I think the flashy magnetic stuff is what's drawing people in. $65 US, $90 Canadian. And then shipping is $20 to the US for the core edition, $25 to get to Canada. So $90, $120 to get to Canada. Still $85 to get to the US. $85 for kind of an engine building game. I like this as a unique mechanic. I like that pushing forward. It kind of just will act as a rondelle. So if you like rondelles, it's a different rondelle where your pieces get pushed forward. If you like Tzolk'in, maybe check it out. But that's the sort of engine efficiency that you're trying to build. And I like the randomization of the monuments, how each monument will have its own requirement as you build up. So every game will feel a bit different. That seems neat. I don't know, though. I feel like the draw here will be upgrading this engine and these actions, and I think it looks fun. I do. It just doesn't wow me as much as a video might put it out to be. I'm trying to be as skeptical as possible, especially when a video makes me go, oh, this is really neat. When they're showing these sort of upgraded components that have no purpose, I try to really be as skeptical as I can and discerning as I can so I don't get swept up in the feeling of, that's really cool. But then again, if that feels really cool, well, then that's a good way to spend your money, because you want to feel cool when you're playing board games, because board games are cool, and people who play board games are cool. Dylan. No, Dylan was actually a friend of mine in high school. Not a bully. I don't want to give Dylan a bad rap, okay? A bad rep. I'd give him a bad rap because I wasn't a good rapper back then. But not a bad rap. Anyway, if you're interested in an Age Contrived, that finishes this Thursday, March 23rd at 3 p.m. Moving along. Here we are with an outfit change. Well, it's probably the same shirt or very similar color. I have a lot of them. I literally was falling asleep with that last campaign, so I might have been in some sort of fugue state, in which case, don't listen to anything I said about an Age Contrived. It's probably too expensive, too much shipping, something along those lines. We're back at it, though. I took a nap also known as Went to Bed and Woke Up. And now we can finish the rest of this episode. It doesn't matter. For you, you're still seeing it, but I thought I would just say it so that you were more endeared to me and just thought about how hard I work. That's why I want your praise and applause. So, cheers.
You didn't work that hard. You fell asleep.
Renee says, I didn't work that hard. I fell asleep. And it's true. I need to be better. I need to be better. Get your shit together. All right, let's get back into it. Let's take a look at From the Moon. What if the moon could save mankind? What if the moon could bring an end to all the conflicts around the world? The moon is going to act as the Earth's mediator. That's what this game is about. I can only assume that the moon is going to step in to mediate all the domestic disputes and country disputes that are happening because humans suck and we just like to hate each other instead of just play games with each other, which is what I like. Let's check this out. Come on. I like this already. It says that the moon is the best at launching vessels because it's got lower gravity. So it takes less work to launch it off into space, presumably, which is how you're going to be able to explore the galaxy, which is great because you definitely didn't have to get all of the resources from Earth to the moon. Anyway, now we can really go off. And then I also do love... where it says, who will be the best at saving humanity? We've got this very clearly intelligent robot hybrid. We have this man who might be compensating for something, but at least he's trying hard. And then we've got this guy who clearly is going to be the best at saving humanity. He is a warlord. And it's not this woman who's just texting. She's texting with her taser phone. It looks like she's priming her taser for saving humanity. Also, probably not the way to go about it, in which case I'm starting to rethink that this guy who's clearly carrying a space machete or a space gun may not save us as well. Maybe he's the reason we were in this problem altogether. My bet it's Robot. It's definitely Robot who's going to save humanity because we can't be trusted and we need some sort of outside help to help us out. And this guy, I mean, look, he looks like he's going to have a good time, but he's not going to do it. He just isn't. So anyway, that's my tangent that I just needed to tell you all. Let's keep looking. All right, I'm into it. The video got me hyped. I hope it plays as well as it looks. Seems like a very standard worker placement engine builder. That's it. You're building aspects. If you like worker placement games, I almost guarantee you haven't seen one quite like this before. Yeah, all right. It kind of reminds me a bit of Druid. It says worker crafting. It's not just worker placement, but a worker crafting game. Each of your rovers can be customized as the game progresses by crewing it with different types of astronauts. And that is cool if you can't take those astronauts back. This is a great campaign page, though. The how to play is right at the beginning. Highlights is right at the beginning. You see it. Really excited about this right now. Yeah, and this is basically what it looks like. You can upgrade your people to specialists. That's what their little backpack is for. But basically, these just indicate what types of resources you can gather. That's it. And you're either gathering cubes or you are triggering special abilities that are around. Oh, that's neat. I like games that do this. The battery life increases. This will give you likely extra actions, but we'll check in the rulebook. Download the rules right here. Top quarter of the campaign page, but that's just because it's all how to play. Way to go, From the Moon. You're my favorite one this week so far. And that's not just because I fell asleep and can't remember the rest of them. Short rulebook, too. 22 pages. Over the course of the game, you're also going to be developing up your greenhouses. That's one of the actions you can do. You can take them from the moon, or you can get them delivered directly from Earth. One greenhouse to the moon, please. I don't think Amazon will ship that far. And that's the reason we got into this mess in the first place, because Amazon killed the Amazon. And so you can put your buildings on the board to just activate these small abilities, kind of like placing a rover, or the more interesting thing when you're building buildings is you can place them on your own player board and then have access to them later. I like that. Each one will have like a faction building, which kind of reminds me of your sort of strongholds in Terra Mystica. And this is a similar flow of games that I've seen of this in a lot of worker placement games recently, and it feels good because I like when you're returning your workers that you do get something additional. So that's your upkeep phase, that's your income phase. You can only get your income, you return it whenever all of your 3 rovers are on the board. Although now that I say that, no, yeah, there are so many things you can do on your turn that you don't have to be putting out your rovers. You can be developing different things, so there won't be a set standard flow of everybody returns, everybody does income, and I like that. I feel myself being pulled towards those types of worker placement games because they feel more loosey-goosey. And sure, everybody's still doing the same thing, but the fact that you can do it at different times and create different game states, I find that to be a little bit more exciting than just everybody puts their 4 workers on the board, everyone takes them back at the same time. I mean, that's still great. Like, worker placement is still awesome, but I appreciate and it intrigues me more because of the variable game states that might occur. And the crux of how you're going to get victory points is by building ships to different expeditions. You can build parts of the ships, or you can improve parts of the ship. You're basically claiming that part of the ship that somebody else has built. And then when it launches, you're going to get points. And you want majority of those ships. So kind of like Brew, if you're familiar, in terms of fighting for placement on every one of the ships and then wanting them all to launch so you get the majority bonus. A lot of games do this. Yeah, it seems fun. It feels like a nice standard worker placement. I like how the stuff gets upgraded. The reason why you might, I kind of skimmed over this, the reason why you might want a specialist is that when you put your rover out there, some things only trigger for specialists. So you trigger it once per specialist, and that's why you might upgrade them. For every 2 to 3 specialists of the same color you get, you also get a bonus. So it feels like one of those games that'll be chaining different bonuses together. In terms of space-themed worker placements, this feels fun. I don't know if it feels more fun than that other space one, Series, that we covered recently. I feel in terms of worker placement, that excites me a little bit more from the flow, but this feels nice. It's going to be that standard chaining of, I need to develop my income, I need to develop my energy, I need to develop my board, and also still get the resources to go out on these missions. And so that push and pull of doing it, it claims half an hour per player, and the rules make it feel like that. It's 65 euros. $96 Canadian, because you got a bunch of plastic minis in here. And obviously this is the... Oh, I was right. Cyborgs. Yeah, that's good. Obviously these minis make it a little bit more expensive. I kind of wish there was a cheaper just wooden cube version or wooden meeple version. That would be cool. Oh, you also get a couple more factions. That's neat. Oh, and different sculpts for the minis. That's cool. I like that the water workers, they're kind of have a more of a oxygen mask, or what you would think. Yeah, but I mean, I love the campaign page. Shipping. What's the shipping? Whoa! €7 for shipping. That's really good. There's clearly this people should support just out of principle. If you're one of those people who hates when everybody's shipping is the same, or you think, hey, I live in the US and they're giving VAT, they're not making people pay VAT, but we're paying the same shipping, I'm mad. Well, then you have to legally back this game, because that's what they're doing here. They're giving you a discount of VAT if you're in the US or in Canada. It would be 18 or 31 euros. So they're selling the games with VAT included. So they're giving a discount of the shipping, and they're including that here very specifically, making sure you don't pay the VAT if you don't have to. So if you're in America, €7 shipping. This gets to be 72 for, what looks to be a decent worker placement. Lots of sort of combo moving parts, if you like that style. €72, about 72 US. Yeah, for Canada, it would be 85 euros, which is, like $120. Not worth that for me, but really just a super refreshing campaign page, very clear rules, and tells you exactly what it is. I think this looks quite nice, so if you're interested in that, check that out. That finishes Thursday, March 23rd at 6:59 p.m. Let's move along to Encounters Shattered Wastes, a cooperative board game about slaying monsters, slinging spells, and surviving magical corruption. I thought it was surviving a magical corporation, but that's a different thing. Looks kind of neat. Looks like it probably won't be for me as well, but if the price is right, I might get excited. Price is standard, so I'm not as excited, but we're going to check it out anyway. This is a cooperative game. You can see the outline here after just watching the video. You're brief, so you can skip ahead to the next one if you don't want to hear me rambling, is that there's a big bad. You're in your lanes, you're in your sort of positions, you're going to jump back and forth, you're going to sling spells, they're going to sling attacks back at you. If you get to 0 health, well, you can shatter and become corrupt and turn into a different form, which also seems neat. You've got this JRPG, retro JRPG aesthetic. That's how they describe it, and I agree. I do like this aspect of it, though. You have a different pool of ability cards to draw from, to draw 8 and keep 3. I like that in terms of customizing your character. Really, it's just going to be, hey, which of these cards synergize together? But I also like that idea as well. You want to get that synergy or find a balance or figure it out. And this is fun, too. There's always going to be 2 stages of character, of boss that you have to fight, which really, I think, captures that JRPG feeling as well. This is still going to be a $100 Canadian game for me, though. With it being $55 US, it's always a scary price point because I know the shipping's going to be not that great, but we'll see. Still haven't gotten to the rulebook yet. I do like this idea that they're proposing here of the campaign version. You get to pick your abilities, and then every person that you murder, you all get a relic and get build up from there. So very Townsfolk Tussle-esque, honestly, in terms of building up your character's gear as you move forward. The more I look at this campaign, the more interested I am. Rulebook very far down the page, though. Like, why? Just why? Why is it not beside the how to play? Zero reason. I think whenever games say this, if there are fewer than 4 players, a player may opt to control more than one character. You want to control more than one character. It's like Zombicide. Honestly, I think Townsfolk Tussle should do this. I just feel like it's better balance generally if you play it for the number of characters versus trying to scale the enemies and trying to scale your own character. It just feels more fun this way. I love this character, the Blancer. You know that famed mythical person from Camelot, Blancelot. You know that knight, Blancelot, DJ Blancelot. Oh, we know it's the character name. We know it's Blancer. And yeah, it's a big rule book, but this is basically the structure. You're going to play one encounter, and if you want to play that extra mode, you can, but basically it's just going to be one encounter, one baddie, and you're going to get strength cards added in front of the characters in those little lines. See, in these lines right here, the strength cards will be added here, and then you're going to take your 2 actions, which can be like moving or attacking, etc., using your abilities, rolling some dice, seeing how many of these you can remove, and you're trying to clear them all, and then the enemy is going to keep on adding them and then keep on attacking you, basically. If both A and B happen, well, there's no A and B here, but they mean above. Doesn't matter. That's why prototype rulebooks are a thing. All right, let's see shipping. $14 to the US, $23 to Canada. So yeah, a $53 pledge becomes a $78 pledge US, and that's about $100 Canadian, right? It's too much for what it is, but it looks interesting. Seems kind of fun. So if you're interested in that, check it out. That finishes Friday, March 24th at 11:31 a.m. Moving along to the Soul of Ankiril. It's certainly got minis, so that's why it's funded. Or no, it hasn't funded yet. Oh, let's see if it's worth looking at. It still has 9 days to go, though, and only a little bit to its funding goal. And then I can always take credit for it if it looks good. So let's take a look, see if it looks good. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Seems like since it even has minis and hasn't funded, it may not be good, but I'm willing to be disproven on that one. This seems like it has everything in it that I don't like in games, but it actually feels like a fairly... What is this line of... Yeah, like I was saying, this looks like it has almost everything in it. Doesn't make me personally excited, but I think it could make you excited. It's a 2-player head-to-head skirmish battler game with some deck construction in it. I really like the art on it. You're going to start with this element board, and you're going to smash them together and fight against the other element and their deck who you're knocking out. And you got the little mini, you got the little token of a creature that you can summon, or maybe it's the same. I feel like this is trying to be unmatched. And it's a race to deactivate 3 portals. But rules right at the top of the page, that's what I like to see. Yes, Soul of Ankiril. Short rulebook, only 11 pages. Like, come on. Well, 22, because these look double-sided. Still, 22 with pictures. I can read that over the course of a year. I could do it. Although it says just fire deck and water deck. Is this going to try to get you in? Water and fire, metal and wood. Oh, I hate this. Earth and air. And then if you want all of them, it's 79 euros, 111 Canadian. Otherwise, it's 34 euros for 50 Canadian for a 2-player game. That's why it's not doing so well. because it's just this stuff. You have the deck, and you're not even constructing the deck like they kind of were saying. You have the 26 cards. Well, maybe you are. I shouldn't say that before looking into it. Yeah, no, you're not even building your deck. You're just shuffling your chosen deck, which is either a fire deck or whatever. Well, that makes me like it more, but it's not what they seem to say. 20 water cards. Yet in here, it says 26 water cards and fire cards. Clearly, there are some stretch goals that have not been hit yet. That's how you can look behind the Kickstarter sausage curtain. Well, no. Don't look behind the sausage curtain. That is something different, and you should be in the mood for it and be prepared for what you're about to see. Getting to your opponent's side of the board and deactivating their portals makes you the winner. Can build their own decks by combining... Well, it's not the deck burden, it's deck construction, but fine. In the deck construction version, players can construct their own decks. I'm making the changes by myself. By combining expansion and base set. Each deck must be exactly 29 cards in total. 1 leader, 3 emanation cards, and then the rest. So you can sync things together, and that encourages you to get more sets. I mean, yeah, it seems okay. You can attack each other with spells, you can move around. You're just going to be playing cards and drawing cards back up. It just doesn't seem that exciting to me, especially when the lowest barrier to entry is 50, well, 34. And then shipping is, well, 7 to 13 for part of Europe. That's okay. US and Canada, 12 to 22. So let's be honest, it's 22. Yeah, it would be 56 euros, 56 US, 70 something Canadian. That's just, for a 2-player thing, no. Just get unmatched. It will be, unfortunately, sorry, Soul of Ankiril, unmatched is just better and cheaper and gives you zero reason to actually play this one. But it probably will fund, so I'm going to leave it in here in case that sounds interesting to you. Well, then great. I'm glad I was able to point it out. That finishes Friday, March 24th at 6:59 p.m. Moving along to maybe an exit strategy, a 2 to 6 player family maze building board game. It's wall or be walled in this hectic race for the exits. So it's Quarto, just different. You know, this really gets me. 6 acrylic meeples with hats. You know what? That gets you covered right there. It's a very simple game. You can see that on your turn you can move and you can place walls to block in someone else. You're trying to get to your color of tile to get out first. And it is, oh geez, it's $60 Australian. 55 Canadian, that's like 35 US. I guess that's not too bad. I saw the 60 before I saw it was Australian. The sticker shock gets you. All right, I want to see, because there's some just glaring flaws right away. Yeah, so it's Quarto. That's exactly it. You can't place a wall if it would stop them from moving, so you couldn't just block someone in completely, but you just make it annoying for them to move. It's Quarto, but different. Quarto is, you know, fine. Quarto exists for probably cheaper or around the same. Shipping is $30 Australian to get to Canada. Probably the same for the US. Yeah, 30 Australian. So it's 90 Australia for this. I'm sorry, but you could just buy Quarto. Quarto exists. Sorry, exit strategy. But hey, look, it made its goal. I'm happy for you if you want that if you wanted Chinese checkers Quarto, well, now you have it. That's Friday, March 24th at 11:54 p.m. Moving along to Totem Hoarder, a fast-paced 2-player strategy card game. Assemble your creatures, outsmart your opponents, snatch precious totems. I mean, clearly, I'm doing this just for that. Just for that picture. That's how this one got covered. I'm a simple man. I like funny faces. That's what I like. Well, I don't think... It says the possibilities are endless, but it seems like the possibilities are 4. You're trying to get 3 totems into your tableau, basically. And... you're going to be doing that by playing a number of different cards. All the cards will have different abilities. The fish help you draw cards or take cards from the other players. The mushrooms are bodyguards, basically. Or the mushrooms have their own unique ability. The other orange cards are bodyguards. And then you have the spookies, the spooky skellies, which I'm thrilled because it references this. Skulls will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons. I bought a skeleton costume. I don't know if I've said this on the channel before. I was doing a sketch comedy show It was called Outwit, Outplay, Outlaugh, where I was the winner of season 2. Made me the funniest person in Toronto. It's one of my proudest achievements. It was an 8-week Survivor comedy competition. But we wrote this sketch where it was around the time, the pictures came out of our prime minister having done blackface for a costume. And so we did a sketch about Trudeau trying to pick his Halloween costume, his new Halloween costume, and he kept on coming out as various ethnicities in our group, and they would come out basically as themselves. And then his advisors would have to tell him why that wasn't a good idea, why he couldn't dress up as those races. It was pretty good, but I wanted every time he came out with a new costume, it was like, how about this? For a skeleton to burst from the curtains in the back and start dancing, singing spooky, scary skeletons, and just have that going on in the background. And it got cut from the sketch, but I was very committed, so I bought that costume. And yeah, I thought that would have been a good addition to the sketch, but it was still a good sketch. We still won that challenge, so our tribe didn't have to vote anybody out. Thank you, Totem Hoarder, for bringing that back for me. It's very simple, and I think this is the good idea that it's following Radlands type of deal where you're drawing just one card from a common pile and then playing it into the area and trying to get rid of all your spooky skellies and trying to get your 3 totems onto your team. It feels all right. 25 euros, 37 Canadian, and then plus shipping, it's going to be like 50, right? At the very least for me, which even though you get a little free expansion with different totem cards, different things that they can do, and the Champion Duels expansion. No, $10 more, you get this Champion Duels expansion. Again, just adding in more cards to vary it up. Where's the shipping? This is good. See, these are all near the end of the campaign. You actually find out what the abilities are. Would have been better to put that at the top. But again, we don't generally care about that. Doesn't look like there is even a rule book. You can pick it up at Essen for free. Otherwise, EU, USA is €9, and then to Canada, €20, right? Like, this isn't €45, $65 game. It's just not. But it looks cute enough. Maybe if you're going to Essen and this seems exciting to you, could be a hit. It'd probably just be a little bit too basic for my taste of this does this and this does this. And yeah, it doesn't excite me to the nth degree, or even the zth degree, in any degree, really. I think I'll forget about it once we move on, but even still, maybe you like it. That finishes Saturday, March 25th at 12:57 a.m. Let's move on to this that is not going to be good, but I gotta cover it because it's called Earth Cows of Mass Destruction. Weaponize and release cows to destroy humanity in this new tabletop game. So the whole premise of this game is that you're an alien race and you want to take over Earth. And in order to do that, with your supreme knowledge and power, you decide, no, we're not going to wipe Earth out. We're just going to figure out how to turn cows into weapons of mass destruction. That's what you're trying to do. So it's a person who can turn the most cows into the most dangerous bombs will win the game. Oh, I do love this, though. Shipping costs are $7 from the USA, $21 anywhere else. I mean, I don't love that, but I love that it's just right on this pledge manager, or right on the pledge. You don't have to worry about it. It's very upfront. Love that. That earns you your coverage, honestly. Unfortunately, it feels very take that. You're going to be building out these pools of scientists and rolling dice to determine how much damage your cow actually does. And how you're going to do that is you're just going to be building sets, but it also seems that like 2 of the 4 actions are stealing from other people, right? And at that point, it's just very take that, and makes me less excited to partake, but the theme is funny and the set collection is there. It's very expensive for what it is, $39 US. But again, I gotta to commend them that the full rules are right here on the page, so you can look at it yourself, figure out if you want it. Very slick, well done Kickstarter page, tells you absolutely everything you need to know, not trying to prey on marketing tactics, just putting it out there saying, hey, I've made this game, I'm new to the industry, I want to keep making games, if you feel like it, support it. So for that, if you want to spend, if you're in the US, probably the only viable thing to do is if you're in the US, you want to spend $46 on it because you think it would be worth a game night and that's worth $46 to you, well, check it out. That finishes Sunday, March 26th at 5:32 p.m. Moving along to Sock Invaders. I just saw these. I think they're kind of cool. And they're board game socks. You got your Catan here, you got your chess, you got your poker, you got your Monopoly, and you got your Scrabble. And they're going to have hissy fit socks. I mean, it's like you listen to Crowdfunding Countdown and listen to Renee. I mean, they're just cat-themed socks, let's be real. But we all would know that they were hissy fit socks, and maybe I could get them. I mean, it's £15 for 2 pairs of socks, 26 Canadian, and then plus some shipping. Seems like a lot for socks, and I have a lot of socks. I'm not wearing any fun ones right now. Renee got me a pack of 10 just random food socks for Christmas. But you know what? They look kind of cute. So if you know anybody who would be interested in that, stretch goal number 1, meeple design. I mean, you should have led with that. That is something I think most people would be interested in. But shipping is very cheap because they're socks, right? So it'd be £17, it'd be $30, $15 per pair of sock, $15 Canadian per pair of socks, so probably $10 US. Not bad. Check it out if you want. That finishes Monday, March 27th at 10:33 a.m. I just saw it and thought, hey, if you're interested, that's what this show is literally for. Finally, moving along to our last one of the week. Well, last two, because there's 2 in this campaign. Alpujarras and Fisheries of Gloucester, 2 new games from the designer of Biblios and Herbaceous, united by the stunning artwork of Aussie Hikala. And I like Biblios. I haven't played Herbaceous, but I've heard great things about it. This has not crossed its funding goal yet. I assume it will. I assume that it must be something wildly overpriced because it hasn't, because Biblios is very good. But let's check it out. Let's check them both out. Dr. Finn has created a lot of different stuff. He was on... Oh, yes, baby. Sing it to me, Dr. Finn. This is what the good doctor ordered. I know now what that show, The Good Doctor, is all about, and it's about Dr. Finn for putting the rules right at the beginning of the page. Give me that Alpujarras, because I know I'm going to get comments on it, but I don't care. It's like La Granja all over again. Alpujarras rulebook right here. Give me those sweet coins. That's what you need to win. I really like this idea. So the basic premise is going to be similar to Patchwork, similar to Kaido and Parks. Whoever is furthest behind gets to take their action, and wherever they land on, that's the action that they get to take. So you're going to be leapfrogging over people and likely just taking the action that's right in front of them, as many of these games devolve to. But what I really do like about this is that the track goes all the way around the board, and it's not fixed. There's a start section, and then you alternate between like market harvest, so that there's different variability in there, but it's not always going to be the same, and that'll shake things up, which is really great and exciting. This is also why you wouldn't want to play this as a 2-player game. You can see these 2-player extra steps in the setup aspect of it. Say include a mule of an unused color. This is Zara's mule. And then you'll be rolling the dice, presumably, and moving that along the track and just blocking spots. So some spots will be blocked in a 2-player game. You probably want 3 players taking all the actions. Maybe that would be interesting if it is a random decision and it's not controlled by the other player of where it's blocked. I don't know what's more interesting. Probably still could be controlled by the other player, but Tokaido did that and made it still not interesting. So maybe that's just because Tokaido's not an interesting game. Yeah, I said it. And I'll say it again. Tokaido's not an interesting game. You're going to be putting your farmers on the board, getting fruit, and then making delivery orders. That's basically it. Moving things around, moving your farmers, and controlling how they move around and getting fruit of that type. And then spending that fruit to complete a goal. That's pretty it. That's pretty much it. That's $35 US, 49 Canadian. And then the cheaper one, the Fisheries of Gloucester, is $25. Let's find out about this one. Rules right at the top again. This is why I never eat any apples, because I don't want to keep this doctor away. Just fruit in general. My teeth are hanging on by just tendons. Very, very slim threads. That's why I have to really watch my diction, because if I'm too if I have too much diction, they're all just going to come out like chiclets. Oh, that's kind of slick. You can never move more than 3 columns further than your last ship exploring the waters. You're moving around exploring the waters, laying down additional ocean tiles to help you explore further. But this is a really slick additional player aid down here, well, right there, showing that depending where your boat is, it can't move even further. So if you have one of your boats tucked away on an island where it would have to stay for the rest of the game because you've returned home, you're not going to get too much further out anyway. So you're going to want to really navigate, no pun intended, the waters, again, no pun intended, of keeping all of your 3 boats in the air before moving on. Yeah, it seems pretty neat. You want to manage your actions efficiently. You want to collect all these different fish. You can collect a fish when you're right next to... Let me blow this up a bit. When you're right next to a fish, you can collect the fish. You can only move on the tiles that you've placed down and not the starting board. And you want to collect the most fish by the end of 6 rounds, completing these preservation cards, basically completing goals, so you can preserve your fish and that they don't go bad while you're on the high seas. Shipping is $6 to the US, $10 to UK and Canada. So if you want both, it's, fairly comparable, a little bit cheaper. $12 to get to Europe. That's pretty decent for shipping. $25 for Fisheries of Gloucester. $35 for Alpujarras. And then $55, you get a $5 discount if you want both of them together. The question is, are they worth that much? So Fisheries of Gloucester, $31 to get to you in the US. Yeah, that's okay. Alpujarras, $41 to get to you. It's $45 US or $60 Canadian to get to me. It just doesn't feel like the cost conversation or comparison feels correct for it to get to me in Canada, but I think both games look like they would be fun times. I don't know if they would be multiple play fun times, you know what I mean? But definitely would play them, definitely would probably enjoy them, and not a horrible price point. If you're in the US, that's great shipping, and for these small games, I imagine this will cross the finish line by the time we get to it. And if you are interested, that does finish Monday, March 27th at 11:29 a.m. As always, this is all in Eastern time. And that's it. That's it for the week. We made it here. Thanks so much for sticking with me. Now, every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. And this week, it's a tough one. It's a really tough one. There are a couple contenders for the pick for me. I'm just scrolling through them over on my computer right now so that I can leave the mystery and not give you anything to look at. All right, let's look at them. Hellbringer is a potential for me. Kuiperium's not. No. Honestly, no. I'm happy it's raised so much, but meh. I think the pick for me is going to be From the Moon. I think From the Moon is the one that interests me the most. I like the aspect of the different rovers. Maybe I'm just enamored by the campaign page. That could be it too. It makes it very clear for me to get excited about the game in a mechanic sense. I like the number of different things that you're working towards, and I like the feeling of upgrading your greenhouses. I like those sorts of games where you get additional income and you get additional food and you're building up that engine slowly as you do things on the board. And I think the point of no return of customizing your rovers and deciding if you're going to specialize in them or not, make one do all sorts of different stuff, make the other one just only get water, depending upon the board and how it's laid out, feels neat and feels interesting to me. So I think there's a lot here in From the Moon. It's too expensive for what it is, let's be real. Well, no. Let's not be real. It's too expensive for me, right? $65 in retail for what you get here would feel good when you have to add the shipping on top of it. But then again, this is the good shipping one, isn't it? This is the good shipping one for the US, not for Canada, but for the US. Like for Canada, and the conversion doesn't make sense. But I think mechanically, that's what this pick for you is kind of all about, and I like what I'm seeing here. So, or rather, the pick for me is all about, I like what I'm seeing here. As for the pick for you, I don't think there is one. Yeah, let me switch back to the main video. Yeah, I don't think there is one for you. There might be other better ones coming down the line. Who knows if there will be coming up? But if there's anything that I'm excited. But for real, the pick for you this week is wait, because there's going to be better pick for yous down the line. Stuff that I've reviewed, stuff that I'm excited to review upcoming, and none of this feels like it earns its way enough to make it like a pan-applicable pick for you in terms of recommendation. I liked Shouting Out from the Moon because that felt like a pick for me. In terms of pick for you, the bar's got to be a little bit higher than to satisfy this idiot. And so nothing this week, but who knows? Maybe in the weeks to come. Well, next week has got to have Reviving Catman doing it by now. I mean, it has to. I don't know when that's finishing, but that's going to be there. It's going to be up there. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you are backing this week, what you're not. There wasn't really anything over on GameFound worth talking about. Certainly not in this time frame. I'm looking ahead at a couple other ones that I do want to mention, but not for right now. So that's all right. But do let me know what you are backing, what you're excited about, what's upcoming. If anything came in the mail, something did come in the mail for me. Well, I brought back a lot of things in the mail for me from WSPG so that I could run the event at BreakoCon that presumably I just finished running, and presumably was a resounding success. But the other thing that came in the mail for me was Earth. So I'm excited to check out Earth because I called it. If you didn't see the list over on Rahdo's channel for the R&R show, this was my #1 Kickstarter of last year, just from a campaign point of view. Holotype was up there as well, and I'm enjoying Holotype, but Earth, it's been getting rave reviews, and I just want to say a big fat I told you so, and I'm excited to play it for myself and see if I can really double down on that I told you so or not. So that's what I'm excited to play moving forward. I'm excited to get games that were from the past starting to the table. My mom got that for me. She heard me talking about it, that it was a Canadian designer, and that it was a good deal on Kickstarter, and that it mechanically looked really sound. And I still stand by all of those things. So she bought it for me, and she told me, now listen, when there's going to be a game that arrives, not from a publisher, it's from me. So don't worry, Mom. I know that it was from the publishers and not from you. And I'm looking forward to playing it. So thank you to Inside Up Games for sending that my way, because it was you and not my mother. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. That's it. Let's end the video here. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase. I just, maybe one day I'll figure it out, but not today. I appreciate you all. Now go away. Play a fun game today. That's what I hope for you. Get lost, but like and subscribe, because we're almost at 10K, and that means I should film my top 20 games. So when we hit it, I can release them. And I can't wait to talk about that. That is going to be a very fun list to make. Okay, bye.